few years ago, I took part in the 100 Heads Challenge and completed it all in 10 days, but it was a disaster. Everything went wrong. So I want to do it again. I need to redeem myself. But this time is a little different. This time it's celebrities and I'm drawing all of your requests. There's a lot to do. We need to get started. Can you believe that we're back? Attempting to draw 100 heads in just 10 days. That's 10 heads a day. To start, we need to make the title page. And as you might be able to tell, this is a very fast-paced video. This is a challenge. And there was 38 hours of content here that I had to somehow edit down to below 30 minutes. The hardest edit of my life. So I'd really appreciate if you could give this video a like. And with that, we're going into the very first head. It's Billie Eilish. Starting with Billie because it's actually the 9th time that I've drawn her. So she's probably my most comfortable out of everyone. I'm setting a 15-minute timer to try and keep on track and not get too hung up on details. But we're already 3 minutes in, so I'm really gonna have to speed up. Each day we're using a different medium and slightly different art style. This is the first day, so we're keeping it simple and just using a mechanical pencil. And that's the first head done. Took a little bit longer than 15 minutes. Moving on to number 2, it's Jensen Ackles. And for each head, you'll see the request pop up on the screen along with the reference photo. That way we can keep track of who we're on. So currently it's Ed Sheeran, who actually got requested a few times. Glasses are very difficult, something I often avoid. And I don't know what happened here with Robert Downey Jr. I think I made the head a little bit too cute. It's giving Malfoy from Harry Potter. And already we are almost halfway. We're on to Taylor Swift and Olivia Rodrigo. Since this is a 100 heads challenge, we can't keep the references simple. Some of these are very difficult. This art challenge was created by Ahmed Aldori, and there is an original collection of the 100 heads to go along with it, but I've already done those before and they were mostly sculptures. I think this one's gonna be a lot more fun. And with that, we've got a few requests coming in. George Clooney, Sam Elliott, and Jeff Bridges. You guys really did challenge me here. You know that I don't really draw men very often, and we've got a lot, but that's okay. It's time to improve. Gonna practice and try my best in the 15 to 20 minutes that we have per head. In the 100 heads challenge, you have just 10 days to draw 10 heads a day, equaling 100 heads. And that's what we're doing. We're doing this entire challenge in 10 days straight. And it's difficult. Each day, the final head is my own choice. So we've got Lupita Nyong'o. And honestly, I think this one might just be my favorite. But can you believe it took 5 hours? Here's a quick look at every single piece. And tomorrow we're moving on to a very different medium. These are fine, colourful brush pens that I picked up in the haul that's coming on Sunday. And we're starting off with Kurt Cobain. There's also a request there for Zendaya. And I've actually already drawn Zendaya for a Create This Book video that will be coming very soon. I attempted to draw her with realism using charcoals. And I can't wait to show you that episode. So instead moved on to Peter Capaldi and Jessie Reyes. I hope I said that right. And I don't know what this art style is. We can't make the pens lighter, so I'm having to be inventive with how we add the highlights and shadows, because obviously we want the drawings to look like them. And they also requested Will Smith. Honestly, I can't believe how much this actually looked like him. This one really surprised me. And I'm loving using these pens, but unfortunately, I kind of lent my hand on it. I guess I was warm and it sort of smudged it all. Okay, lesson lesson learned. But you also just watched me get a paper cut. It's all going wrong. But now we're moving on to Benedict Cumberbatch, who did get a few requests. He definitely has an interesting face, and so I wanted to lean into that. The whole point of this challenge is to, well, challenge yourself, draw people in difficult poses, just like this one, and ultimately try to improve at drawing faces, become faster, and have a better understanding of anatomy. So we had to include some difficult poses in this. Some are facing forward, obviously my favorite. Some are at an angle, side up, down. We've got side profiles. Though with this challenge, the focus is primarily on the faces. So there isn't a big emphasis on the clothes they're wearing or their hair, because there really isn't time for that. I wanted to choose a lovely happy photo of Chadwick Boseman, but unfortunately the eyes are a little bit too big, and obviously the mouth is open, so he does look a little bit creepy. I'm very sorry about that. Moving on to Mads Mikkelsen, and I did not expect it to look this much like him. You know what? I surprised myself there. Do you see the resemblance? Well, with that, we're moving on to number 20 and ending the second day with Perry Edwards from Little Mix. This one was my choice because when she doesn't wear foundation, she has the most lovely freckles all over her face, and I really wanted to draw that. But this has been an absolutely crazy day. I can see the resemblance on some of them though. Some of them are a little bit questionable, but we did it with a brand new art supply. It's day 3. I have used pen before when I tried to complete the challenge in one day, and it was a bit of a disaster. But let's try it again. This time we're using fine liner and watercolor. I think using fine liner is going to speed up this process, but it might also look horrific. I don't know if any of these drawings are actually going to look like the celebrity, but we're starting off with Lady Gaga, another very difficult pose. It's a challenge, and you know what? Watercolor is my comfort medium. So it was really fun to paint this one, but unfortunately this wasn't the best move because then you have to wait for the paint to dry before you can add a second layer or move on. This was a whole faff. And with that, we're moving on to Henry Cavill, another really good choice. He has quite a unique jawline, and personally I think I can see the resemblance. I don't know, what do you think? A couple of requests here. We got Pedro Pascal and Anna Torv, and I'm really struggling to get the resemblance on these, but they're still fun. Okay, we are zooming through these. It's crazy how quick this video is. Like, I was drawing for 4 or 5 hours each day, and we're already on day 3. If you haven't already and you're enjoying this video, please could you subscribe? It really helps my channel so much, and we get up to a lot of fun stuff on here. Moving on to Elvis, who did get a few requests. I did find it a bit harder using the older photographs, just because they're not as good of a quality, and that made it a little bit harder to try and get the likeness there, but I still think it kind of looks like Elvis. Now we're off in a crazy different direction. Bella Hadid. I didn't realize how symmetrical her face was until I tried to draw it. Do you know how difficult it was to make 2 eyebrows look identical, to get her cheekbones and jawline similar and super symmetrical? Her face is crazy, and I've just added a little bit of watercolor to the background. Here's a quick look at all of the celebrities that we've painted so far, and now we're moving on to the next page. That took way longer than I thought, but we're on to Chris Pine from the D&D movie. I understand why this reference was chosen. Chris Pine is aging like fine wine, so I understand this choice. Unfortunately, the portrait was a little bit at an angle, so the nose looks a little bit wrong. But now we're moving on to Dick Van Dyke, which might have been stylized just a little bit too much. Honestly, there is a fine line when creating portraits like this, and you'll see in a little bit when we go through a little bit of an existential crisis. It's a fine line. Figuring out how much to stylize a portrait when you still want it to kind of look like them, but you're not aiming for realism. It's difficult. Now, the final choice is mine, and I've gone for Lana Condor. We needed another gal on this page. I'm loving this colorful pastel background, and just like that, day 3 is all wrapped up.
Good
morning. It's day 4. I want to use alcohol markers, but that goes through the page. So how's about we draw on the right side, but then on the left side we use pretty papers to avoid it messing up what we've already made. And this is a style I've never tried before. Let's see if we can do it. To be honest, I'm still pretty new to alcohol markers. I think these colors are gonna work, and I love to doodle with these. I'm always using them in the daily doodle diary, but when it comes to actually drawing people or things and aiming for realism, I don't do that. I just have fun. So I do not know how this is gonna go. Well, we've got our pretty papers and we need a coloring pencil to get that line work down before going in with the alcohol marker. The first request is of Brie Larson, and I picked this photo because I thought it was a bit of an interesting angle, but unfortunately I think I gave her a glow up. She's cute, but it doesn't look like her. Well, anyway, we're moving on to blue now because the next request is of Ringo Starr. This was an experience. Ringo Starr does not look anything like my art style, so I tried my best. But in a spontaneous move, we're reaching for the white gel pen, and even though I completely overdid it, it kind of works. And also requested were Madonna and Julia Roberts. So we're just picking some simple fun colors and layering the alcohol marker, and considering this is just on like Temu colored paper from all of the Temu hauls, I am so impressed. Like, why does this kind of look good? Well, maybe. It doesn't quite look like Julia Roberts, but it's ready to be stuck in. Unfortunately, I got a little bit of watercolor on this page, but you know what it's like working in sketchbooks. Sometimes they are messy, and unfortunately, that is just how it is. I got a request for Brad Pitt, and I'm guessing that we're all picturing the young, long hair kind of Brad Pitt, because that's what I've gone for. Unfortunately, the hair can't be super long because we're popping another person below, and I have a little bit of a controversial opinion. I think I preferred using the papers. I don't know how, I don't know why. This paper is obviously better, but it kind of blended. The other paper didn't really, which meant that I could layer on top and have some harsh lines. I found this really difficult to use. Like, the paper was too good, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but we've still got one more on this paper, and it's Roy Orbison. There's also a ton of other requests there that we're gonna work our way through, and since the photo is black and white, I'm just doing it in grayscale. I can't presume I know what he looks like. I'm sorry, I don't, but obviously I know Pretty Woman. They also requested Wednesday Addams, but I've actually already drawn the Janet Ortega version, though characters is something I'd love to explore in future. One of you also requested Jack Sparrow, so instead I've actually drawn that for the next Daily Doodle Diary episode, and it turned out really cool. I can't wait to show you. Before we can move on to the next page, we need to pick out some pretty papers. I'm looking for anything that's light, that's quite big, because we need to race through this next lot. Okay, it's currently almost 3 p.m. and we're literally just over halfway. I don't know how that happened. I think I got a bit sidetracked. I think I took a little bit too long at the beginning. So we are racing through, picking random colors and really just going for it. In reality, this took over an hour, but we have to race through. We've got so much to get through for this challenge. And if you want to see every single drawing up close, next month we'll be going through the sketchbook tour for this 100 heads challenge. That way we can take things a little bit slower, go through a little bit more of the process, the pros and cons of each medium, and what went wrong, what went right with every single drawing. We can take it a little bit slower because we're now on the final piece, and Lizzo is my own choice. Quite a difficult angle. I don't think I got the likeness there, but she's still pretty. All that's left to do is to stick in those papers, write down the numbers, the names, and that's it. It's day 5 and the medium of choice is rainbow pencils. My partner had the fun suggestion of painting every single queen from The Crown. Claire Foy, Olivia Colman and Imelda Staunton. I have 2 different types of rainbow pencils. The first set I got are quite thin and they have pretty much every single primary color in them and probably the secondaries too. And then I got these jumbo ones in a more recent Temu haul. And unfortunately, these ones just do not have very much pigment. I was really pressing down as much as I possibly could and it just was not coming out. But we've had a little bit of a warm up and now there's a lot of requests. So we're going to work through this whole list, but then disaster struck. I was drawing Richard Marx and the camera corrupted. The battery ran out and we lost all the footage. I'm so sorry, but this is how he turned out. It does happen, but that is the only celebrity that happened for this challenge. Everything else is completely fine. And now we've had a little bit of an intro. I'm feeling a bit more settled. Popped a Disney movie on because I really want to enjoy this. I'm using the rainbow pencils, but trying to stick to specific themes, pushing down as hard as I possibly can to get some pigment out. And now we're moving on to Chappelle Roan. I picked this reference because of the makeup. I really wanted to try drawing someone with makeup on, but this was crazy difficult. It's something I really need to get more experience with, but it's hard to make them look like them when they've got so much makeup on. You know? Well, anyway, number 49 is Emilia Clarke. Fantastic choice. I know exactly why you've picked this one. And that's exactly why I chose a reference of those eyebrows. Kind of sad. Phew, I'm tired. There's one more to go, number 50. And this one is going to be on a live stream. It's my choice and I picked Dolly Parton. I think it's going to be interesting. I want to say a big thank you to those of you that joined me on the live stream. It was a lot of fun. And the medium of choice is this. I've actually only used it once to draw this, so I'm a little bit scared. It's a graphite stick by Faber-Castell. I think it's a 6B, so it's a lot darker than the mechanical pencil that we used on the first day. And can you believe I actually completed this in 15 minutes? The first drawing in this entire challenge that I managed to complete within the time. And now we're working our way through the rest of those requests. David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, and Tim Curry. But I don't know if you can tell, I'm really struggling. Like, I kind of like what I'm making, but we're now edging towards realism, which I don't do. You're not gonna believe what happened. The pencil rolled on the floor and it split into three. Literally the worst thing that could have happened. But I've duct taped it back together. These are the pieces. And hopefully this pencil is still gonna continue to work. Well, let's find out. Now for the worst face in this entire challenge. I think using this medium, I was really fighting against my instincts to create realism. And it didn't work. It doesn't look anything like Priyanka Chopra. So moving on to a younger Dame Maggie Smith, I wanted to stylize it. And it's looking cute. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna step away from realism. I don't do realism. And it's hard for me to do intentionally now because my impulse is to make the eyes bigger, and that's not realism. So when I try to shade and actually create it, it doesn't work, and that's why we ended up with a mess. But we're now on Jared Leto. I don't know about you, but when I picture Jared Leto, I picture the long hair ombre look, so that's what I did. But now we've got a really fun one. Audrey Hepburn. She has such a unique look, and she already looks so cute and pretty that I think it's a perfect match for my art style. That was a lot of fun. But now we're gonna end the day with Willow Smith. This is the reference that I picked. Unfortunately, it doesn't look anything like Willow. A lot of the face is just in the wrong place. But I still think these two turned out pretty cute, even if I am very tired. Today we've got a real difficult challenge. Watercolor and color pencils. I'm reaching for an old palette, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. Keeping it nice and simple with one paintbrush and one pencil. Last up on this request, we've got Tom Hanks and Hugh Jackman. Honestly, I think it looks like Tom Hanks. I can really see that. But unfortunately for Hugh Jackman, I chose a side profile so it really doesn't look like him. But it's a challenge. I need to get better. I need to practice. And at this point, I was feeling pretty confident. So, moving on to the next page. How's about these two? Two bright colors. Ariana Grande and Sabrina Carpenter. Unfortunately, it was at this moment that I realized there's no way I'm going to be able to paint Ariana Grande in this much time. Like 15 minutes to paint an entire watercolor portrait? What on earth was I thinking? There's no way this is going to work. And the most frustrating part is that it kind of slightly resembles them. And if I just had a little bit longer, I might have made it look like them. Well, next up, we've got a huge list of requests and some actors in horror movies. I don't know why this guy is looking so tanned, a little bit orange. I'm not sure what happened there. But we need to speed up. We need to create some slightly smaller portraits now. This wasn't the medium for that. This is incredibly difficult. Well, anyway, I'm trying my best. I'm trying to paint a portrait as quickly as I possibly can. And unfortunately, 15 minutes is not that. There's no way to paint a watercolor portrait in 15 minutes and make it look good. Maybe the worst medium I could have chosen for this challenge. It was a really big mistake. One thing I didn't think about is that this photo is black and white. I'm not going to presume I know what any of the colors are, so we're just going to make a grayscale portrait that kind of resembles them. And finally, for my choice, we're doing Amy Lou Wood, who seems to be quite big right now, but I know her from Sex Education, where she has the best character. But we got through it. The day is done. Yes, we're going to attempt to use acrylic markers to paint entire portraits. Popped Edward Scissorhands on, which is actually very apt for how this portrait goes. And we're continuing the big list. A spooky, monochrome, very scary portrait. Now for the next prompt, I did not expect to be painting a painter. Really didn't see that one coming when I was asking for celebrity requests. But here we are. I've actually drawn a lot of paintings before, usually in museums. I leave the playlist below if you want to see any of them. So it was actually a lot of fun. Sometimes when you're drawing a painting, you get a little bit more creative freedom where you can make it your own and do what you like because you're already drawing something that another artist has changed up to. So I really enjoyed that one. To finish off this page, I'm adding some lines, rubbing out the pencils, and I think it's done. I don't know what this style is, but we're going for it. We're using acrylic markers in a crazy style. Well, it's made up of blocks, and it's very similar to the marker stand that we painted recently. But obviously these are people, and we don't have skin tones. So everyone is going to be a little bit orange, purple, blue, pink. They're all going to have to be slightly crazy colors. And it was really difficult to get likeness, but this was actually a really fun style. I painted a movie scene recently. It was Lilo and Stitch, and I think that was a similar style to this. And that's probably the closest thing I've done to a portrait in this style. Well, anyway, to end off today, I've got some of my own choices. Helena Bonham Carter, Jennifer Lawrence, Keke Palmer, this lovely older photo of Reese Witherspoon. Honestly, she just has such a unique look, and I kind of think I got it. But to end off the day, we're drawing Octavia Spencer, blocking in the dark shadows, the mid-tones, and the bright highlights with any color at this point. But we're not finished. We need to add those crazy lines, make it a little bit abstract. A quick look at the whole double spread in this crazy art style because we're almost there. Transfer paper, color pencils. This is a medium I was looking forward to. I got this crazy request of a ton of different celebrities. So for the final 2 days, we're gonna work our way through this list. They are mostly musicians, starting off with Selena Gomez. Didn't get a lot of likeness there. Honestly, I thought the color pencils would be a really simple choice. I don't know why, but they're not working. Like, this is a slightly difficult angle. still, I know, but it does not look like Mariah Carey. I'm too tired to draw anything good. I thought I'd be able to just pick up a couple of pencils, draw a face, move on. I thought it would look decent, like it kind of worked for the graphite, but it is not working for the color pencils. Still, I'm loving the color theme of this page. I love that it kind of goes along into a bit of a rainbow. That was a spontaneous choice, and it works. We're finishing off this page with Rihanna. I really wish I could have got more likeness there. She is stunning. She has a very unique look, and sadly, I just could not do it in the time frame that we had. I think I was just too tired. We are almost done, and it's crazy how tiring this challenge is. Last time I did the 100 heads challenge, I completed it in one day. That was chaotic, I know. I did it in about 6 or 7 hours, and I do think if I'd have done celebrities, it would have taken way longer. This time we're doing the challenge in 10 days straight, and it's the second time I'm doing it like this. Honestly, it was so much harder than I remember. The 100 heads challenge is crazy. If you're gonna do it in 10 days straight, drawing 10 portraits in one day is a lot, but not having a single day off, it's too much. I don't think I could do this challenge again. The finish line is in sight, but I definitely need a few more years to consider doing this challenge again. It's far more tiring than a monthly art challenge. You definitely learn a lot in a short space of time, but I forgot just how tiring it was. So this could be the last ever one that I do. It's just too much. Honestly, can you believe it's the final day? I dyed my hair last night, very pink. Removed the nails, they were getting in the way a little bit. And for the final day, we're gonna use pens, lots of different pens. Okay, but look how cool my pen collection is looking now. A lot of these I actually got in the haul that's coming on Sunday. Tons of new stationery that I'm super excited to try out. Popped Bailey Sarian on. This is the kind of stuff that I watch while drawing. And we're reaching for a random pen. I guess this style is a huge mishmash of everything that we've created so far. We're using mild liners for shading, so obviously it's not gonna look like a normal skin tone. The final day is for fun. The final day is for experimenting, using all sorts of crazy fun colors. At this point, we've pretty much done the challenge. We're on the final stretch, going through all of these musicians in that last request, going with the flow, and just savoring the final day. I definitely knocked some years off Paul McCartney in this one, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We are so close. And I think drawing celebrities this time round has its pros and cons. It's lovely being able to draw someone and actually recognize them. Some of these drawings, when I got them right, actually made me feel so good inside and really surprised me that I could actually make it look like somebody in such a short space of time. I really didn't expect it. I know a lot of them are questionable, but I did surprise myself with this challenge. The cons of using celebrities? For starters, these requests have all come from you guys. You went out of your way to choose a person, and I want to make sure that I can get it right. So I felt a lot more pressure to try and make each person look good, and sadly I just didn't have the time needed to do that. So some of them weren't up to the standard that I would have liked when drawing one of your requests. And unfortunately, whilst you can recognize the celebrities and their names are on there sometimes, there's also a lot of times that you look at the name, you look at the drawing, and you can quite easily see that it doesn't look like them. So there are definitely pros and cons of doing the 100 heads challenge but drawing celebrities. I think if I wasn't filming, it probably would have been more fun. I did have fun completing this challenge. Sadly, I did just feel a lot of pressure to try and make them as good as possible, and unfortunately that just wasn't going to happen in the time frame we had. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed seeing this challenge. I really pushed myself, and I think it was completely worth it, even if this doesn't look anything like Whitney Houston. I also love trying out so many different mediums and styles. That was actually really insightful. It's done! You know what? I think this time round was a success. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in a few days. Bye-bye.